All right, so beginning of the week for Bitcoin, and we're about an hour in. Um, yeah, we're about an hour in of the new week. So we had some price movement, man. I mean, we had when did I do my last video? Let's see. My last video I did, and I know we were talking. I was, kind of neutral to bullish, um, just really talking about how we were still consolidating. I'd seen a lot of it was the 8th. So what day was that? Right here. We had come down and then we kind of started a price rally back up. And I think we had crossed the 1 hour on the 30 MA, but I mean we know our volatility was going down here. So yeah, we it actually gave you a signal to sell on the 6th, and then we went and then we kind of re-entered. We can see we found some support here. We went below it, and then we're still consolidating. The Bollinger Band width is also showing consolidation. We did have some good movement. When was this? On the 10th. So that was yesterday, where it looked like it was just gonna, it went back above 60. Looked like we were just gonna break through, but again, there's strong resistance in that 60 area. So a lot of the times, whenever you're looking at assets, it's like you can make zones like resistance zones or support zones, and that's kind of, I mean, until we really break. Let's see, I can kind of draw something like that. So it's kind of like a channel, but it's a zone of resistance. So we can say, I would say, let's look at it on the daily. Yeah, the daily, there's a lot more data on it. But I would say a zone of resistance would be somewhere right here. It's like this, right? So we have a zone of resistance. Let's see if we can, let's make it, I guess we'll make it red because it's resistance. And can I fill it in? No, that's just for the lines. That's a custom color. Settings, here we go. Middle. Middle's pink. Background, here we go. That's what I wanted. So like we have a zone of resistance, right? Let's make it a little not so opaque. All right, so this is like our zone of resistance. So until we really break out of this area, we're kind of just gonna, I think, bounce. So, we go below it, come back in it, resistance. You can see that they're selling. Actually, it looks like, I mean, this came kind of extended out, but TD Sequential here was saying it was an exhaustion area. So we're not, and these are daily candles. So we're kind of in this zone of resistance. So I think if we do pull back and then see a candle, a nice wick candle with some support to kind of bounce through this zone of resistance, that would be good. We can look at the on balance volume to see what that looks like. And, that's kind of just trending. It's starting to trend up. It's kind of going with price. We can look at it on the weekly real quick. Again, flat and showing that it's consolidation. Here it dropped. It kind of dropped whenever we broke down. I would say as early as right here. Well, no. Yeah, this was really, we had, what day was this? This was the 24th. This is pretty far back, but you can see when we broke down resistance. It's trending down as price is consolidating, so that's not good. I'm not going to say it's not good. It's not great if you're bullish. So this really needs to start to trend up. But on the daily, it's relatively neutral. And then we can look at our CMF, our money flow. Again, this really needs to start trending up. And I've been highlighting it as we were going up in prices, is that we're getting lower peaks. We really need, this is the last peak. We need to see this really go for price to sustain that momentum. On the 4 hour, it's just going sideways, kind of trending with price. Again, a high, but it's kind of, it's the descending. That's bullish divergence as price is going up. So these really need to start trending up for us to see sustained movements. So that's CMF on the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly. This didn't look great, right? So you can obviously see that this is a support area. So we had that pullback up, and then we kind of found support later in the week, new week. So we'll see if this holds, because I think if this breaks down, we're probably going to break down even more aggressively. We kind of did have I said what, 15 to 25% pullbacks. We did have one that was greater than that. We had a 30. This one would be 9. So from the previous high that we had here, this was a 18. So that's within our range from a high to a low. But in that week, we had one that was 20. So yeah, again, still consolidating. We're seeing those pullbacks in that area. I think this one was a 30%. It's 26. This is on a weekly time frame. Yeah, so we had one as bad as 26. Was this one 30? I thought one of them was 30. That one was 30 back in early January. So 30, 26. So you can kind of see our pullbacks are not as severe. So this one was, what, 31? What's this one? This one was 26. This one was 18. So our pullbacks are becoming less severe. So that's great. I mean, even if you want to count this one as a pullback, maybe. That's 9. So that's good. All hints of a potential breakout, and we're right at that 60. Like I said, we're in this zone of resistance consolidation area. Let's look at, we looked at unbalanced volume. Let's look at our RSI. I didn't pull that up. Again, found support, kind of showing also what the CMF was showing. This hasn't really broken down. We've been in the overbought area since October. It did kind of break down here on that bigger pullback, that 31%, but then found support and started trending back up. So, whenever this type of RSI gets into this area, it's really a indication of momentum. So on the weekly, we really need to be above the 75. Daily, but again, look, we're seeing lower highs, and we're kind of at resistance right here of a previous little high. It needs to break through this. It needs to break through, what is it, 60, and get in this 60 to 70 area, and then go higher to show good momentum. 4 hour, let me expand the price. It was kind of trending down. So that's our momentum. That's our momentum indicators, right? CMF on balance volume. I'll show the Bollinger Bandwidth. That's again trending down. Still low volatility, even had some price movement. So areas of low volatility only last for so long, and then we get, larger price volatility, either upwards or downwards. Let's see what else. Let's look at the funding rate. Still kind of high, not insanely crazy high for this cycle. It can get much higher, and it's still positive. I'd like to see it negative so we can counter. It'd be a counter indication of we can possibly go higher. But it's not it's not high compared to the previous bull cycle, 2017. It's just kind of it's been consistent, if anything. So this is showing the consistency as far as, like, I would say, risk, right? So they're taking some risk, but it's not as crazy, I guess, as it was in 2017. But again, it's a different same asset, but the environment's a little different. But we've seen the price fall whenever we're kind of extended a little bit. Let's bring back on the daily, maybe. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So it's been more extreme, and then it trends down, and then we've had a larger price, fall. It's been negative here, and then positive, and then we had a little price rally. We're just consolidating, so we'll have to see. That's not giving us too much. Now let's look for some sort of patterns. This does look like an ascending triangle, but I'm not ready to draw it because, I mean, this could count as a peak, that could count as a peak. I want more than 2. This would only be 2 peaks. That could be a false breakout. But this was a little early in the pattern, so I don't really see. I mean, I can see a cup and handle potentially here that formed. I'd like to see it maybe on a 4 hour. Yeah, that could be a cup and handle, right? So cup and then a handle. Almost maybe an inverted head and shoulders as well. So what would that be? Let me hide our resistance zone. And let me hide this real quick. And then draw some. Man, I always forget where this is. Okay, here we go. So let's do, I'm going to do a cup and handle because this is where the head and shoulders would be. So I'm going to do a cup and handle here and here and there. So let's make this green because we're bullish. And let's draw another one, kind of from here to here, something like that. And then we're on a breakout. I can kind of highlight these a little bit. Let's make them green. That's too dark. Oh, here we go. Something like that. All right, there we go. So target would be maybe initially this. Do this. And we have a somewhat of a breakout. Something like this. So right around 63. I mean, I had already made, I think, a cup and handle before. I don't remember what time frame it was, but there was one. So 63 initial target with an upper target of potentially right around 67. You know, again, I don't see any other pattern. I mean, you can almost count this as a cup and handle as well, but I'm going to go with this smaller time frame. So anywhere between 63 and 67, our initial breakout, that kind of matches with our Fibonacci right around, I mean, we're finding resistance here on this Fibonacci, right? So that's been good. So about 70, again, we could run up, find resistance, and then trend sideways again for a good amount of time. I actually like this consolidation. It's something that I'd been talking about, and we're on the upper end of it, so it's good. Let's look at the Lucid SAR because it's something I had talked about before. We were at 5305. This whole cycle, we haven't really broken it. Kind of tested it here. We broke it all the way back in May of 2020 on the upside, and we haven't come back. And you know, it was characteristic. You know, I think it happened 4 or 5 times in 2017 where it came back and flipped, and that indicated a buy potential. Or, you know, it did indicate a buy, and that was a good time to buy the dip. But right now we're just high, and you know, we'll see. We haven't retested this area. There was something on the 4-hour where we had a 9 that printed, and then we went above it, came back, retested it, so that was good. And now we bounced off of it, and we're getting upward price movement. 30 MA. Let's see if it matched up with the Ichimoku cloud. I think it probably did. It did. Right there. Look at that support right here on this cross. And that matched. Retested the 9, found support, and it's going up. Daily. Kind of support here, going up. The weekly. You know, we're just so much above it. I'll go to the hourly just to highlight the 30 MA strategy that I talk about. Again, consolidation. So that's about it for Bitcoin. Again, still neutral to bullish. I think we're in area of resistance zone, which I think is good. If we sold off greater, I think then probably here, the lower of this one. So like 57. So say if we close the daily a day below like 57.5, I'd kind of be a little bit cautious that maybe we start to retest these lower areas that we had a couple days ago of 55, and then maybe hitting that Lucid SAR, but that stop reversal point. But then again, another area of interest would be this low 50s. So we'll see. Again, we're on the upper end of this consolidation, so it's good news. Some of our indicators are on balance volume, CMF, need to start trending up more, but it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. So I know I talked about, oh yeah, one last thing. I have this to remind me, but so the pi indicator, which has been accurate to calling the top within 5 days on the daily, with Coinbase, as long as we stay in this area, don't really drop, it's actually going to cross, and that would indicate top for the cycle. But I said there's going to be indicators that break this cycle, because this cycle is so special as far as calling the top, and this might be one. But hey, maybe we're on a 3. Maybe we rally for the next 6 days to catch a 9, and then we do. Maybe that is our top, but we'll see. It'll be something to analyze. As far as the moving averages go, on the daily, we're okay. We didn't completely break down. This intermediate blue one has been staying above this 30, and so has the price. So it didn't do it back here, but that was a pretty big pullback. That was our 30% pullback that we had earlier this year, right? That could have been an area of concern, but since then, price has stayed above the intermediate, uh, and the intermediate has stayed above the longer term 30 day moving average. Price kind of went below it here, but the 8 day, our intermediate didn't cross below it, so we found some support and we went. So as long as that trend keeps on going up, we're okay. Once we get the 8 below the long term and then price below that, kind of what happened here, I'd be a little concerned. And there might have been some concern here at this time. I don't really recall, but there was some support that we found here at the 9. We kind of came down, went up, and then we found resistance. This was a massive support area, and then we bounced off and went higher. So, but that'll be something to uh, be mindful of. When hey, we're back above 60. We'll see how this goes. I think the next couple of days, the next week's going to be relatively exciting. Based, I think, on this data, I'm not sure where he's pulling it, what exchange he's pulling it from, or it might be you know, an accumulation of a bunch of different prices. This one hasn't quite crossed yet, but it's close. So it's yeah, like $50 difference. So we'll be mindful of that, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go over one more thing. I'm gonna look at gold real quick, just to see where we're at. Looks like gold has started off the week negative or down. This was a pretty good week, aggressive bounce. We'll see what happens here, because if price falls below this prior week, the prior week low, and you have a daily close below that prior week low, so below 1721, say, that'd be, if you could have entered a position here, considering we had some good momentum, but you would essentially get out of the position because that's showing some weakness. Yeah, we had some strength, but now we're getting some weakness because we're closing below the prior week lows where we found support, and then below that there's really nothing, as far as it didn't have enough time to really find support areas or build an area of support relative to how many buyers came in. It's just, if you close below this, you're most likely going to come back here. And hey, we were on a 9, 1 to 4 candle correction, and then maybe we come back down, and that might be what we have this week. But there was some inflation numbers that came out. I think they were high. They were higher than I think many expected. I remember what the exact numbers were, but gold actually didn't perform well. It actually sold off, and gold's supposed to be an inflation hedge, and it's kind of odd that we have inflation numbers that come in that are high, and then gold sells off. A lot of speculation that maybe some of that money's going into Bitcoin instead as a better inflation hedge, but time will tell if that is true. So, but yeah, I actually took a small silver position based on these movements, because I mean the silver chart was a little bit different, but sometimes gold moves before silver, and then silver will move aggressively. And I was a little bit more bullish on silver. But if this week we close below the prior week low for gold, I would probably be, and it was a small position. You're just scaling in as these moving averages are starting to come up. You would, get out of that. But, if anything, sideways. We'll see how gold performs. I'm not going to go into another deeper analysis on this. I spent a lot of time on Bitcoin, but as of right now, if I'm just looking at my moving averages, we need to get some momentum, some price action moving up. This will be resistance on the way up. Is 17, say 90, and then we need to break out of that and show our moving averages to keep on continuing up, to break the all-time high that it set back in August of 2020, to get some movement. And then, well, I don't know, we'll see. I'll analyze it further to see what a potential top could be. So, but I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.